What's it like to be doing your job here with Kansas City, looking across the field and seeing the team that you played for 5 or 6 years and also spent the last 13 years in their front office?
Well, you know, it's different. You know, you see old friends, you have lifelong friends here, but it gives me, from a personnel perspective, it gives me a chance to evaluate the fourth preseason, not only their players, but our players as well.
Right. Well, you speak about the evaluation process and what you're going to do here in this fourth preseason game compared to the other games. You like to get down on the field and do some up-close evaluation.
Yeah, I mean, there's certain things that I'd like to look at, and the only way you can see that is down there on the field. So once I leave here, I'd like to go down on the field to complete the second half and just kind of see, you know, because you can feel the game a little bit differently down on the field.
You mentioned that you're, of course, evaluating your own roster and figuring out how you're going to get from 75 to 53, but you're also watching the team across the way. How do general managers walk that fine line between having the intimate knowledge of what the players on your side are all about and also knowing what the other rosters are doing too?
It's called technology. It's called being able to have that film tomorrow, being able to evaluate them. You know, our staff does a great job of consistently and every day. We're evaluating every team in the National Football League, and we're trying to determine who the 53 players are on that roster. And then what we'd like to do is, okay, if there's a guy from 54 to 60 that can help us, you know, in that pool, let's go and see if he's better than what we have. And that's kind of what personnel guys actually do here.
Well, you establish yourself as a player through your special teams play, and that's going to be an important part of your evaluation, especially the guys we're seeing here in the second half. Not only what they can do offensively and defensively, but what they bring to the table from a special teams team.
Well, there's three phases to the game: offense, defense, and special teams. And those backup players are going to have to play special teams, you know, for 16 weeks. And then, you know, if they have to fill in, they're going to have to fill in. But you'd like to have players who can play, actually line up and play, and also contribute as a special teams member. I think Dave does a great job getting these guys to play. He has this preseason.
Yeah, Dave Tobe, the special teams coordinator, have been a star as the special teams, especially in the returns, have been very good. And Vince Young with the completion there.
Well, and we had to tease Dave a few weeks ago when we ran into him in the tunnel. We're saying, you're getting way more face time than a special teams coordinator normally gets, so keep up the good work.
He's done an outstanding job. You know, we're very fortunate to have Dave Tobe here. I've considered him one of the top 3 special teams coaches in the National Football League, and it's a tribute to Andy, you know, to get him here when he got him here in January. And you can see by the preseason games what he does mean and what special teams do mean. They make big plays.
Earlier in the first half, one of the bigger plays in the first half by the defense, John, the interception from Frank Zombo and the good return there. See a penalty marker coming in late, but as you were in Green Bay, he was also there for 3 seasons, so he must have earned your trust somehow to make you want to bring him down this way. What exactly did you see from him in your time in Green Bay that made you think this guy could be a chief?
I'm very familiar with Frank, and what he does, again, that's when you begin to actually go out in the free agency market and say, okay, here's a player in Frank. He's going to give us depth at that position. You know, you have Justin, you have Tomba, but now you begin to get depth and acquire depth like that. And then as we go along this process, you'd like to continually get more depth with the likes of Frank Zombo, because not only does he play teams, he steps into the game, a regular season game, and you know he can make plays and he can contribute.
Well, what does he bring to the meeting room? Obviously, being around him for those 4 years in Green Bay, he obviously brings something, either a leadership or a knowledge of the position that he can help carry over to the other guys in the room.
I think it's a combination of both. Frank is a true professional. He's very passionate about the game of football. He studies his craft, and that's really all you can ask for. And then when it's time for his time to be called, his number's called, you know, you have to be able to show you can play the game, and he's shown that tonight.
Penalty marker coming in. It's going to be pass interference. It appears to be on Moody.
Holding, number 32, defense. 5-yard penalty, automatic first down.
And it is.
Well, there seems to be a blueprint. You just talked about Frank Zombo and what he brings as far as professionalism and being a pro. DeVito, defensive lineman, we've heard those same words used with him. Chase Daniel, from a quarterback standpoint, he's a pro, somebody that knows how to prepare and be a good presence in that meeting room with Alex Smith. Obviously that's an important part of if you're bringing in veteran guys.
No, it really is, and as you all know, I think the locker room to me is if you can get a nucleus of guys together in that locker room that are very close and they understand exactly what the other guy's doing. And that's what training camp's all about. These guys came in as teammates and they left as family. And that proves that somewhere during the course of a regular season, that tight-knit bond will eventually help this team in one way or another during a hard course here. during the hard part of the game.
Injuries sneak up and can dictate your week, can change your week. I'm wondering what your week has been like after the injury to Tony Moeaki. Fractured shoulder. He's going to be out for at least a major portion of the season. The tight end position was already pretty new with Anthony Fasano and your draft pick Kelsey out of Cincinnati. You also have Harris here, an interesting project from Milwaukee. So share with us some of your thought process about that position after Moeaki goes down.
Well, what you want to do is, you have your emergency boys and what you're doing is you're targeting various players on other teams that can step in and help us not only contribute on special teams, but be able to be, a playmaker at that position. So that's why you go and you evaluate the preseason, all the preseason games, to be able to stack your tight end to say all of a sudden if this guy's released, you say this guy can help us.
Right.
So let's get him.
You can help us after the break if you want to stay. How about that?
No, I'm going to go down on the field and watch football.
Okay, that's probably a better idea.
Okay.
John Dorsey, thanks for your time.
Thank you, Paul.
Okay.
Trent, see you.
We have been asked